Swansea, very funny, little quirky little area.
Yeah, it is.
And that pub, two funny stories about that, the Black Horse. One was that it was originally, where it is the divide between Llanelli and Pontardawe. So there was a period of time where the licensing wasn't the same. So they changed it in Swansea to 11 o'clock on a Sunday. And took away the old 10:30 license, but Llanelli Council kept it. So we used to have to move everyone into the far right of the bar because the pub actually ran across the line, yeah.
No
so
way.
You could sort of stay for an extra one. If you know the pub, you go in there and you turn right to where the fireplace was. I've probably changed the layout now, but you just go, everyone at this end.
Yeah.
And you could finish it. And weirdly as well was that there was a Swansea head and Llanelli head. So if you were, and this was weirdly the wrong way round, I can't think of it, but if you were from Swansea, you wanted a really flat head in it. If you were from Llanelli, you wanted a really big head in it. So people would come in and say, "Oh, I'll have a pint of Foster's Llanelli head." And I always thought it was the wrong way around because Llanelli is slightly less affluent than Swansea overall, isn't it? You'd think, or I felt anyway at the time.
Yeah.
But they were the ones. Normally in my career, I've moved around a lot with pubs, and. 60, 70 pubs I've worked in all over South Wales and south of England. And there's so many weird trends that you find. And one is, there's the head thing. And some places don't like a head, some places do. But it's normally the places where there's more money. You would think they would be happy with the bigger head and have it served how it should be. Because you had like brands like Peroni and stuff coming out and educating customers. And actually, no, you should be having these adverts where they got the cutter taking the top off and say, no, like Stella, you should have a proper head, and that's what it's designed to be like. So you think that in the more affluent areas, they're going to go, yeah, I want it served perfectly. No, but the richer they are, the tighter they are. So they're the ones that want it to be served flat, to the top, to the top.
Fill it up.
Yeah, or even worse in the more affluent areas I've worked in. Like, even if I've worked in really affluent areas, like maybe Tetbury or something like that, or South Gloucester, they'll have a gulp of it first, and then tell you to top up to the bit that was just like top it up.
That's a good shirt.
Yeah.
So they drink half of it and then say...
Yeah, and the gulps get bigger, because some of the guys going to be afternoon, they're going to go, look at this, you're going to top that up a little bit, and then they just go and have a massive swig. There we are, you get it in there. But then, in the other areas where you think it's a bit more less affluent and they'd be like more inclined to want their full pint, they tend to be the ones that more go towards the, just pour it correctly and I'll have the head.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Then you had Peroni then, went one step further, and they created bigger glasses. You remember that happening? What do we read about?
More than a pint?
Yeah, they brought out. Yeah, so it was mid-2000s when Peroni sort of really kicked off. People weren't going for this bigger head thing.
Yeah.
And Peroni were really passionate about how their drink was served. It had to be in their glass.
Yeah.
It had to be reassuringly expensive. So they made sure that they priced themselves way, way above anybody else. I mean, it first came out, it was probably good £152 a pint more than the average. It wasn't a little bit more. It was staggeringly more. Because they wanted you to, if you walk around a bar and you were drinking a Peroni and you were holding that glass, it was a massive status thing. And people would go, yell.
Look at this guy.
But so you didn't want anybody else using the glass for any of the products.
Was it the long
thing?
I know, yeah.
Then they oversized it by about an inch. But then they put a line on it which said this. So the line was the legal mark. It had to be on it. But that line represented the top of where the glass would normally end. So normally then you go down a centimetre from that line and that would be the head.
Right.
But now people wanted it filled with liquid to the line and the head could be in that new inch above it sort of thing.
Yeah.
So from an operator's point of view, it was awful because you were now just giving away 5% more every time, regardless of whether you had a person who wanted the head or not.
Yeah.
It was an awful thing to do. I mean, from Peroni's point of view, it was great because that 5% means you've got to buy that extra.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're selling more anyway, but...
God, I remember in Australia, you couldn't get a pint when I was out there.
Just the schooners, was it?
Just the schooner. And I was like, I was like, got any bigger? And they were like, no, sorry, mate, that's a schooner. We don't do. And I was like, no way. And I was like, okay. And this was my first ever round in Australia. And I said, all right, I'll have a Jack Daniel. I got a round in for me and some of the boys from Wales. And they said, who's all that for? And I was like, oh, well, just for me and the boys. And they were like, can you show me them? I had to show them who was going to drink what. Because they wouldn't. So they had the tiny little pints. I had to show them who was drinking the spirits. And they're like, oh, okay.
What was their concern? That we couldn't do it, or
They would be too drunk.
All right.
I said, I'm from Wales. This is the first
I do understand
round.
the schooner thing because it goes too warm too quick.
Right, yeah.
'Cause it's
I
such a
didn't
warm-
think about that.
That's
yeah.
kind of the reason, yeah. Because funny, someone was talking to me the other day about schooners because they tried to bring it into the UK. There was a real push for it about 10, 15 years ago. A few brands went, we're going to try this because it's different.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, everyone just drank more because it's like having a half pint really in it. If you have a half pint, it just seems to go in a gulp.
It is really
The other
small.
pint, it seems to last a bit longer. Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon, it isn't with a half.
Yeah.
So it didn't work at all. It was no different to when they brought in the 35ml measures into the UK. And then was like, we're quite happy with 25 and 50. We knew where we were.
Yeah.
Why do we need a weird third measure?
I wonder if Australia are doing pints now, or are they still with the schooners?
You'd have thought so. But that's what I've always been led to believe is that, well, I was being told by a few of our suppliers that it's, because it's so warm in that country that it goes warm quick, the beer. So they serve it in a slightly smaller amount. So you hope you should get to the end of it before it gets to that point. And I can see why, because if you have a really warm day in Wales, there's a funny smell to the beer and it's sat in the sun for a while. You ever noticed that? You get to a certain part of it towards the end, it gets a bit warmer, definitely, but it also changes the smell a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'd always argue, I'm not a big fan of that.
No.
Knows it, but some lager, but
yeah, it feels a bit like, and it's lukewarm in the summer at the end.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
so you end up just leaving that last little. Yeah, you want it to be as good.
Yeah.
To the last drop, really.
Yeah.
And that's for most companies I work with, especially like Diageo, who own like a lot of the big brands, like all the vodkas, and they own everything, don't they? Really, Diageo.
Do they? Oh, I didn't know.
Oh
that.
yeah. They've sold quite a few off lately, yeah. But like Bombay, Gordon's, Smirnoff. They're the biggest brand owners in the world.
Yeah.
They just buy brands. So they own Guinness.
Oh, right.
And they have sold a few of their smaller ones off recently, but they do a Diageo training course, which they run for free. It's normally once a month in every major city. I think Swansea do them as well now. And their primary goal is to help you train your staff to get to a point where every drink is A, served perfectly in the first place, but B, get the last drop is as good as the first.
Right.
So you really want another one.
That's
If
that's what you want.
So the amount of ice is crucial. Like a lot of people would think, well, I only want a couple of cubes of ice because it's going to melt in my drink. But the reality is, the more ice you put in, the slower the ice melts. So actually, you want to load it with ice. And you'll probably find at the end of the drink, most of the ice is still there.
Yeah.
If you put 2 cubes of ice in, they'll definitely be gone by the end of the drink, which means you're drinking mostly water by the last.
Right.
So it feels not as good. It loses its edge with the water mix or whatever.
Yeah. So are you still in the catering industry, or have you just left that completely?
No, but I might put my toe back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a little idea that I wanted to try for a while. So I'm in talks at the moment with somebody in Mumbles to maybe let me hire a kitchen and see if I can just try the idea out and see how it goes.
Yeah. It's all top secret now, is it?
No, not really. No, it's something. It's just probably just boring. But do you have you heard of shio koji? Japanese marinade. Essentially,
I might have.
So yeah, it's fairly unknown in the UK. There are some places that are using it. I think most customers wouldn't know what it was, but we have used it quite a bit in the Plough and Harrow when I was there.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's koji rice from Japan. You add water and salt to it, and then you just let it ferment at room temperature for several days. And once it's done that, it turns into a white sludge, and then that becomes the marinade. But once you've made it, you can refrigerate it. It'll last a year, so it's quite easy to make big batches and keep it. And then you can put it on anything, literally fish, vegetables, meat, whatever you fancy, and it breaks down the enzymes in the product, so it just tenderizes them, but it does it in a way that nothing else does.
Really?
Adds a bit of a umami flavor.
Yeah.
So we were using it before. I got it in a couple of years ago now, quite a few years ago, and then one of my chefs at the time was always very skeptical of any of my weird ideas.
Right.
I was like, I don't think, so, no, let me try it. So we got a lamb cannon in and we just put it in there, leave it overnight in the marinade, and you take it off the next day, and then we just seed it off in a pan and cut it. And I said, go on, you go first to see it.
Yeah.
And his face, and he literally just turned to me and said, I never really trust your ideas, but what has it done to that meat? It's out of this. And we did pick a lamb cannon, which would be the best bit of lamb you can get anyway, but
yeah,
it just was so out of this world. So we used it quite a lot. We did used to get lamb rumps in and do them in shiokoji
Yeah.
and serve them sort of Japanese style dish on the menu. So people got to learn and ask about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way you can really do it. I think you have to be prepared to educate the customer.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people I know don't want to do things because they say, well, people wouldn't know what it is. But I think, but that's always the case when something is new.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part. They're going to want to know. They're going to say, sorry, what? If you should create a culture with your staff that they know everything, they can answer the questions and they're confident to answer the questions. You slowly create a culture with your regular customers where they feel inclined to ask, or actually it's part of the experience to ask what is, you know. So, so anyway, I saw then a guy online who was doing chicken wings in shiokoji, and he said, but don't wipe the mix off at the end, just leave it on and just deep fry them in the mix and it'll be the best KFC you've ever had kind of thing. So we tried it. Oh no, my Lord, was it good? Yes. So that's what I'm going to try. I want to do a little place. I'm going to think about names at the moment. I think we're calling it the Koji Club.
Right.
I don't know how that works. But I'm just going to do just chicken and maybe a few other different meats all done in the shiokoji, but then just deep fried in it to keep the marinade on.
Right.
So you can do like pieces of pork in it.
Yeah.
And then serve it with like Japanese ketchup or maybe some katsu dips or soy. And
I love Japan.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's a very simple menu, like maybe 6, 7 different things on there. And then a few sides.
Yeah.
Fries with some, umami seasoning and stuff like that.
Lovely. Yeah. Me and the boys eat a lot of Japanese food. We're well into it. Yeah. We so if I make them like a normal sandwich it's not a normal sandwich. They're sandwiches for lunch in their lunchbox. They're 5 and 9. I'll make my own like teriyaki sauce and cook the chicken in it, and it, all that kind of thing. We love sushi. Love all of that.
My daughter's into sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah.
She's she's very particular about the sushi she likes.
Yeah.
It's more the fish side, nothing with just like chicken and like that. She thinks it has to be fish.
Yeah.
It has to have cucumber in it.
Yeah.
She'll go through.
Same as the boys.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? There's an obsession with cucumber.
I know.
We're going to Tesco's, they have that section where they do the sushi stuff, don't they? In the store. And if some people always say if your child goes missing, you can go and report it to customer services. If my child goes missing, just go to the sushi bar, and, and that's where she'll be. Where she'll be going through every packet. And quite often, the ladies that are there, the other on the counter will go, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "Just looking for cucumber." Sorry, just looking for cucumber. She's obsessed with it.
Yeah, the boys are like that with the sushi.
She do any. Doesn't matter what fish do you want. She's not too fussed about what fish it is. I'll eat any fish really, but if there's no cucumber in it, it's game over. Yeah. I was like, we can buy a cucumber. That can't be done.
I can give you a whole
I can see it from here. Like you just go and get the cucumber.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. But she'll eat cucumber like an apple. Yeah. Just put it on the table. And which is great though, isn't it? To have.
Oh yeah, it's so good for you, cucumber.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm chuffed that the boys are obsessed with cucumber and sushi as well. That's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah, but I think a lot of parents maybe wouldn't think to do. But I've always said to Jess, you have to. I love everything.
Yeah,
and I think it's important that you get them to say, just please try it. And I know there's some children out there that they just generally don't like other things. But I think it's also from an operator's point of view, having fed children in my restaurants for 20 years.
Yeah,
there's definitely an element of children that have just been allowed to become a certain way. Yeah, just gone. It's just easier. Yeah. For maybe a parent just go, well, just have the same thing every single time. Yeah. And then when you do try and branch out, or they're in an environment at a party somewhere, maybe where they don't have the thing they only eat. Yeah, yeah. And it's game over. It's tantrum time where it suggests just try anything, and she will.
That's good.
Yeah, even when she's had a few bad experiences, she's tried a couple of things and gone, no, absolutely disgusting, don't like that. Oh. But then she will still try something new the next time. She doesn't give up on the ideology of it.
Do you know, we went to Finland, Lapland at Christmas time. I took the boys and we were in this restaurant and it was all like part of the deal, all inclusive type thing. And my oldest son was like, snails, they do snails. And I was like, okay. Right, we'll get them because it was all part of the deal, And,
yeah, so why not? Yeah, the one chance you could do it now.
So, and they came and they were large, right? Okay. They were large snails, and you got your little cocktail sticks, I think. And he was like, "Oh, I don't know, Dad. I don't know." I said, "Well, just
were they in garlic butter or they just
garlic butter? I taste the butter, lovely marinade." nice herbs and everything. I was a bit dubious because of the texture. I'm a little bit thing with textures, but I'll try anything. So I was there and I got one and I just nibbled a bit, and I was like, the texture really got to me, and I was like, oh. And then my son, he was holding it for a while now, and he just ate the whole thing. And I'm not joking, it was massive. So I was expecting him just to, nibble like I did, but he just stuck it himself.
So that's the way, though. Just, you got to go for it, I think, yeah.
Didn't like it.
If you No, did he not?
He didn't
I
like
thought this
it.
story had a great ending, though. He's now an aficionado of escargot, but no.
Oh, he was
Didn't
in
spit
trouble.
it out, though, did he?
Oh, he had to.
Oh, did he?
He was like...
That's what my daughter does. She'll just spit it straight back out. There's no...
Went straight in the middle of the table,
I had food poisoning when I was a child.
Oh, no.
And, and it's weird, because ever since then, if I have anything and my body goes, no, they kind of recognizes it as an old pathogen or something. It must realize and go, it must trigger something in the body. It goes, we've been there before.
Stop.
So it's now impossible, sort of food poisoning. But my reaction, whenever I see my daughter have something she doesn't like, her reaction always makes me think it's very similar to that, where like it's an instantaneous thing. There's no give it a second, mull it over.
No.
Is this okay? Maybe was it the butter I didn't like, or the herbs, the actual snails okay? No, it's...
His body just ejected it.
Yeah.
You didn't have any choice. I think it was
the
3 tubes.
Then straight after you put it in your mouth, it goes, no.
Oh, it was...
Back of the tongue's going, we didn't even get to touch that. Well, like we might have liked that.
Yeah, the texture was like nothing. You can compare it to...
Had you had snails before that?
No, that was my first time.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I thought maybe it was just an odd one.
No,
They're normally about mushroom size. They're quite small.
Mushroom was what I expected texture-wise, but it wasn't quite that. I just couldn't... I couldn't get away from the texture of it. There was nice flavour there, though, in the butter and the herbs, but no, it wasn't for me as well. Not for my son either. No, it was bad.
It's strange. There's quite a few things that I find with food that size is so important. I think oysters are the same. Like you can be the biggest oyster fan in the world, but sometimes you get really big ones and mussels. You get like sometimes the Thai green lipped ones.
Yeah, and
they sort of end of the season and they've been picked late and they've just grown and grown. And they've got too big. Yeah. And now it's just hard work. Yeah. It takes it's weird, isn't it? How it just changes something so much. Not for everything, but but now you mentioned mushrooms. That's definitely one thing I've not seen large mushrooms like that. Snails.
No, yeah.
But I definitely think I'd be put off by
the texture.
I think the small ones it's just nice. So you can
Yeah, if it was a tiny one, like a little cockle size or something, but no, they were huge.
Mushrooms are fine large, so I just clarify that. Yeah. Why?
Yeah, no, it was, but they do try everything, which I'm chuffed. I'm so chuffed he tried it as well.
No, I'm very impressed.
I had to man up, because I was like, I can't eat that.
You were there just tempting.
I was like,
nibbling,
you've got to try things, Spice.
Have this. Yeah. This man with you? I'm afraid so. Yeah.
Oh, it was. I remember I had some dodgy salmon once at a wedding, and it was like a round table like this with must have been about 10 people on it. And I don't know if there was a speech going on at the time, but I put this salmon in my mouth, and I like salmon, but it had gone. It was old, and all of a sudden,
it was just a smoked salmon, was it?
Yeah.
Still smoked, okay.
I was uncontrollably retching. Uncontrollably. It was like this, and I was just like looking at everyone to make sure.
Had you swallowed it?
I couldn't.
Oh, you just in your mouth?
Yeah. I didn't want to spit it out. And no one was noticing on this round table, thank God, apart from the missus at the time. And I managed to just swallow it whole. And my eyes were streaming, and she was like, "Why are you crying?"
It's very emotional.
She thought, because we were at a wedding, I was getting emotional, but no, I'm nearly choking on salmon.
The best thing. You wouldn't even sure if there was a speech going on. But
No.
But if there was, it was brilliant.
Oh, it was, that was tricky. I just had to get it down because I wouldn't spit it out. It was like, must have lasted about 5 seconds of this. But, yeah. We need to talk about your...
we'll talk about Shy sheep?
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, why not?
So, where did the idea come about then?
So basically, obviously I've been in the Plough and Harrow for 12 years.
Yeah.
And when I first went there, I had a chef called Richard, and he was already working there. And he stayed there the whole way through.
Yeah.
And then his partner at the time, Vicky, came to work initially to help us just make the desserts and wash the dishes. And she went all the way through the ranks and ended up taking over the Plough, running it for me. So when I was still the owner, but she became the general manager and run the day-to-day for it, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And she's now the new owner of the Plough and Harrow with Richard, who's now her husband, in the kitchen. So it's a lovely story of how they come through it all together.
Yeah.
But about 3 or 4 years ago, looking at doing different things. I mean, coming towards before lockdown, I was already thinking about coming out of the industry. I'd said to myself that I would come out at 40. That was my and no exit plan other than just wanting to make sure that I came out young enough to still have time to do something else.
Right.
But not sure what that other thing was going to be. But
yeah.
I was worried I'd get stuck into my 40s and then 50. And before I knew it, that's it. Does it sound that you can obviously still start life at 60 or 70, but I just thought, to me, I felt I needed to get it while I had the energy, because knowing how hard it is to get things off the ground, new businesses, he does need something.
Yeah.
And I already felt, even in my late 30s, then it was like, this is going to be a lot harder than it was 10 years ago to find those 16-hour days again and again and again.
Yeah.
And obviously now, being a single dad. So anyway, that was coming. And then lockdown came along, and lockdown was actually, for us as a business, really good. Which sounds a terrible thing to say, because obviously it was a horrible time and a lot of people died, which is obviously terrible.
Yeah.
But we just tried to find some positive in it. And we had people ringing the pub straight away saying, I'm from Australia or from America. We've got elderly family living near you, can't get hold of them. You're the nearest point of contact.
Really?
Can you help us? And I said, absolutely. What's the name, address? And we go and often they weren't our customers because they would be quite elderly people living in the area. We go and find them, check in on them, and report back.
Yeah.
And I just loved that, yet again, in the time of crisis, that the pub is the hub. People turn to it more than even the church the village was turning to us for help.
Yeah.
And then from there, we kind of got really inspired and thought, well, maybe we could just keep the kitchen going, and we could do food, and we could deliver it for free if we could get some volunteers together. And a bit of a mad idea, but it all worked really well, because there was a lot of people that didn't need an excuse to get out of the house. They were happy. We had loads of volunteers put their hand up straight away.
Yeah.
And just became, for the business, just sort of like I found the love for it again, really, I suppose. Getting to meet the community involvement. We started giving out free flour and eggs and stuff to the village because people couldn't get those from the shops anymore and stuff. But we still had contacts to bigger suppliers. We could get that stuff in. It was great. So that reinvigorated it. But in the middle of all that, to answer your question, somewhere in the middle of that, we thought about different ideas. And somewhere, Vicky said Shy Sheep as an idea for a brand of, I think maybe just a chin to start with.
Yeah.
And I loved the name straight away. I thought, I guess that's got something about it. I said, well, we'll look into it. And then time, just as it does, goes by. Didn't really do anything. As we got towards the end of lockdown, then we sort of said, well, we'll give it a go. So we used to start going to Cardiff, to a distillery up there, where you could pay £40, and they had like 8 coppers in a room and all the botanicals on a wall, and you could pick 8, 9, 10 botanicals, and you make them, and you have somebody helping you, and you'd produce a bottle of gin right there and then you'd bottle it and label it, and you'd make notes about how you made it, and you'd take it home with you. You'd go home with a whole bottle of gin.
Brilliant.
And I said to Vicky, well, looking at the cost of research and development could be thousands, but if we just go up there once a week or twice a week and do one each or whatever, we can, and we keep the recipe and we just tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. We'd eventually get to something we go, and we had idea. Vicky wanted to put gorse in it from day one. She was using Welsh coastal things and Gower botanicals. So that was always a key driver anyway. And we were doing that, and then the guy at the distillery one day said, are you trying to make your own gin? Because they're going back all the time. Because this thing was designed for tourism, you got there just like coming to your day out with the family and make a gin and go home. Not every other day you're back in there. So we admit, we're trying to get our recipe right, and we're trying to do it as cheap as possible. So if we can find, we can get it to a point where we think that's really good, then we know it's worth maybe looking into.
Yeah.
If we play around with it and it just never gets anywhere, we're just like, we're not cut out for this, so leave it alone.
Yeah.
What we didn't want to do was give it to somebody else to do. That just felt, because it's really more of a passion project than it was going to be anything else. Anyway, long story short, they kicked us out. So
really,
honestly,
that's
so bear in mind, it was just
terrible.
towards the end of lockdown, so you could only really start doing things separately, to separate in the room and stuff 2 meters apart. And it was still like all that going on. But they came back to us and said, look, we can, for £2,500, we can do all the R&D for you, develop it, and we'll get it to how you want it. I was like, oh, well, we want to do it ourselves. And we also don't want to, it's the worst time ever to be putting £2,500 into anything, isn't it? Middle of lockdown. So we said, no, thank you. And we had one more, I just booked them in advance. I booked them online. I had one more booked in with them. And I rang up and said, oh, we can't make that date. Can we move it to the Thursday? And never got a reply to the email. Right. I emailed again, didn't get a reply. Emailed again, didn't get a reply. Tried to phone. They were still open, but I couldn't get through. So they obviously went, just cut them off. So we didn't get to use the last one we paid for anyway, but also never went back. So
bloody hell.
That was a bit of a shame. But then Vicky then got in touch with Gower Gin Company, and who were then based down at the far end of Gower, but now they're also in Forest Fach, and had a completely different approach from them. They turned around and said, "Oh, well, no, we'll help you develop it. There's no cost. No, we'll work together. We'll just do it."
Yeah.
But obviously the status quo is that that we work together moving forward. Then if we help you develop it, you make it with us, and that's how they get their end of the deal, that sort of thing. And it was a fantastic, and is to this day a great relationship we have with them. So we spent ages, trying it, going back and forth. We did taste tests with consumers to see what they thought of it. Took the feedback back and then tweaked it again.
Yeah.
And just slowly over a few years evolved it into what it is now.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. I know I say that because I sound biased, but like it genuinely got to a point with all that hard work and all the input from people that helped us in Gower Gin to get it to be just something that I give to people now and just say, just try it. And honestly, I should have bought some down, shouldn't I?
Well, yeah.
I have to go and get some for you. But every single person that tries it goes, why is that so much nicer than normal gin? It's just, and we're not really sure. It's just that we've obviously it's all hand and forage botanicals.
Nice.
From the Gower.
Where do you stock it?
So we've got a warehouse in Llansamlet where at the moment where we go into.
Yeah. And
then hopefully we can get to a point soon enough where it'll be going out as fast as we're making it, really. So it'll be much of a hole in stock. Yeah, but
okay. So will it be in local off licenses and?
Yeah, which so at the moment. Initially, if I wanted to get it into pubs more than anything else, pubs, restaurants, and bars and stuff, so it's actually on trade as my market. There was two reasons for that. One, because it's an industry I know inside out. Yeah. I've got loads of contacts across the whole of South Wales and England in it, so I can easily ring up and say, "Can you take it? Can you take it?" I just seemed, and there's a better margin on it for pubs. If they buy a bottle at £25 and then sell it at £4 a shot, they're making a big 70% margin on it, which they need to. God bless pubs now. Yeah. But obviously it goes into a shop at £25. They can't sell it for more than 35, 39 at the max. So there's a much smaller margin for them, which they accept because that's the nature of the beast. But I just thought that means we can't really charge them. We're going to get pushed down on price. Not going to get rid of the volume off them. We might sell maybe 1 or 2 bottles a week with them where by 50 bars in Swansea selling it, it was doing 60, 70, 80 bottles a week sort of thing. So it was the plan. So it started off, the Swansea Jack took it first when they launched. That was quite nice. And then from there, a handful of places have taken it around Swansea. It's going to go into Mumble's fine wines.
Cool.
They've said that they're keen to take the vodka at least anyway to start with. And then we've also spoken to Cheers. So David there is keen to take it. So we're speaking to him later this week. I think, and CK's, the chain of shops, that's quite handy for us because they go as far as Aberystwyth.
Yeah, they do.
All the way up the coast, all the way in Pembrokeshire, Narberth.
Yeah.
So that gets us some real reach.
Yeah.
I think once we've got that done, then we can push harder on the advertising because at the moment we've been holding back a little bit on that because it'd be terrible to sort of say, this is great, it's out there, and no one can find it anywhere. It's just a weird chicken egg thing to work out how much you push different ways. We've spoken to a few local celebrities about endorsing it. We're making some adverts at the moment. So we're doing some filming with Sean Lloyd, Jonathan Davis.
Yeah.
and a few others have mentioned they'd help us out, and also looking to get Lee Trundle involved as an ambassador.
Yeah.
So we're in talks with him at the moment, and that's all brilliant, but it would be pointless if you can't get it. So we've sort of had a whole fight. So we've got those talks in place while we've gone back to the drawing board with the getting it out there. But it's helping because you're going back and telling people that you've got those people lined up to do the advertising and promoting it for you. And they go, oh, in that case, then it's worth us giving it a go and having a look at it. Yeah.
Oh, sounds
so that's
good.
where we're at. Yeah. So it's still early days, and we're trying to make it as much as a brand than anything.
Yeah.
Because I think the problem was when we spoke to a lot of other companies, not Gower Gin, but all the other few smaller companies, all they do is say, well, we've got gin that we make, and then we just bottle it, put your name on it. And I said, oh, is that a thing? And oh, yeah, we do it for hundreds of pubs. We do it for hundreds of... There's companies all over the UK. There's some big brands. I don't know if I should mention their names. Like some big rum brands in the UK. Big rum brands. Do not make that rum.
No, I know.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
One begins with B and ends with T, and there's art in the middle of it. But they don't make it. And I was blown away by that. So I went back to my partner, Vicky, and said, look, we can't be that.
No,
I would never sleep at night thinking that's what we do. You know, and the gins that we were offered were already on sale in this area in certain pubs and clubs. I think it's fine for pubs to do it. It's been, white label stuff is quite common in pub industry. If you want to have your own wine, you can go to a company. There's a lot of companies that will make you a nice wine and they'll put your label on it. Call it the dog and duck wine or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of them want their own spirits these days. There's quite a few of the higher end venues in Swansea now have got their own in-house gins and vodkas, but they'll all be the same from the same people.
Yeah.
And they'll just be nice, safe, generic ones, and it's fine. But if I was going to sell an actual brand, into shops, and I just don't think I could sit comfortably knowing it was just...
No, I would be... I had
the same as something else.
I had a health product, and I could have quite easily... just had it white labeled, like you were saying, but I wanted to develop it and do it myself, my own thing, but a lot of these health supplements you get, they're like being sold by one brand for like 50 quid and then another brand for like £10. They're the same
thing, yeah,
exactly the same ingredients.
Yeah, I think that's why we were so keen in the end to make it more of a brand than anything else.
Yeah,
so we actually stopped everything about a year ago. We got really lucky. I got to speak to a friend of mine. Said, "Oh, I've got a contact in London, and he's a marketing guru, and he had done some really big advertising in the past. He did some stuff with Budweiser, the Frog advert, stuff like that. So like some really big campaigns that have been viral. He saved Pepper Army when Johnson were going to drop the brand completely about a decade or two ago.
Really?
Given up on it, completely given up on it. It wasn't working at all. And he said, I'll have one last go with it. And he said, I'm concerned that the only problem with it is no one knows what's in it, he said. So we're just going to put something like, say, no, it's just a little bit meaty. He said, just instantly take that worry away from the consumer and it'll sell. And look at it now. It's no. So anyway, we were very lucky to get to speak to him.
Yeah.
And he was such a generous guy with his time. He would actually, the first time I rang him, I said, I know, I'm a friend of a friend. He said he wouldn't mind chatting about this brand. Yeah. He said, talk me through it. He said, I haven't done this industry before. I don't know the spirits market, but last night, ahead of this conversation, I went down to Tesco's at 10 o'clock at night and walked the aisles for it. I was like, that's, who does that for people? He wasn't charging us anything for the help. He just said, and I looked around and I've got a feel for it. He said, and it's way too serious for a start.
Right.
Every gin, every bottle is just like, I do this, I do that. I'm botanicals. It's too into it's all the same thing. It's all about what botanicals you do, but it all do. You have to do botanicals. That's how you make gin. So if you weren't doing that, I'd be worried. So I think you need to have a different approach. You need to be maybe take the mick out of yourself a little bit, maybe be a little bit naughty or silly about it. Yeah, and just take the pretentiousness out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like really related to that because I remember like growing up. I say growing up, I started in pubs at the age of 14. So, the only wine on the shelves then was Stowell's bagging boxes in machines on the wall that had a little button. White, red, and that was it.
Right.
Or white and rosé and red, maybe if you were lucky.
Yeah.
And it evolved very quickly then to wines coming out of boxes, and then it went to bottles, and it grew. But through that period, the one thing that changed everything was New World wines, because all the French wines were in bottles in French, in very difficult to read.
Right.
Even if you could read French, you still weren't sure what all this stuff, appellation was, DOC was, it was
Yeah.
just a minefield.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, it's felt within the wine industry, that was done on purpose to keep wine elitist and, at the other end of the market, because you had to know it, and people would be scared of it, so then leave it alone, because you wouldn't want to risk 10, 15, 20 pounds on something that you just don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
The New World wine comes along and it just says what it is. That's it. Chardonnay, Spain, 2020. That's all you need to know. And you get to know what you like.
Right.
A great variety.
Yeah.
It becomes very simple to then, and that's why pubs then obviously turn heavily towards New World wines, particularly Australian wines or Californian wines, because it was easy to just get the customers to trust it, get to know what they'd like. Then another weird thing happened then with the wine industry, because as a result of that, all the big breweries started going to the big brand names like Blossom Hill and stuff like that to say, or Hardy's, can we have your wines at really good prices in the pubs? And all the pubs then, through sort of like the late noughties, were, anywhere you went, were stocked with all these brands.
Right.
And it killed the wine industry in pubs overnight. Because and no one could work out why initially, but it was basically because these customers are going into the pubs and they recognize all the brands, which they thought was a positive.
Yeah.
But what they actually went was, I know what that costs.
Right. Yeah.
Because they were all supermarket brands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had to then it flipped almost overnight, where every big brewer and wine merchants in the country that was providing on trade said, right, no, exclusivity is now actually the deal. They would go to wine companies and say, we'll take that, but nobody else can have it. You can't sell it to any supermarkets. And it saved it. So we've even trained as staff, people come and said, I love that. Where can I get that? Because we get these apps that you could sort of point at the wine, tells you where it is and stuff. You can't find it. No, because it's exclusive to wherever brewery I was with at the time. You can't, only we can get it. You can buy it over the bar for us to take home. We could probably do a deal on that if you want, but you can't, you want to see it in a shop. And that saved it then, because suddenly then it was worth.
Interesting.
But no, it's nothing worse than going into a shop and seeing Hardy's at $5.99 in Tesco's.
Yeah.
And then going into your local pub, it's $5.99 for a glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go, I know you got to make a markup on this, but people don't understand.
Yeah. I'm like that with whiskey. Occasionally if I'm in London, which I haven't been for ages, the price on the whiskies, I actually naively said to this guy when I was at the restaurant.
For a shot, like you mean?
Yeah, for a shot. I said, what are these numbers? Buy the whiskey.
Oh, you didn't know his prices?
No, it was like £100
was it?
for a shot of this. It was a good whiskey. It was like a Japanese.
I was going to say, it was one of these new Japanese ones.
Yeah, like maybe about 70 quid a bottle. No, maybe 50 quid. I can't remember which one it is. Let's say about 50 quid. They were charging £100 for a shot. I was like, what are these numbers?
I think a big problem with that, though, is that there's still a lot of people that they mark a percentage. They'll put a percentage on it, and I find it weird that people still do that, because like we've gone through the mill 100 times in this industry. We seem to keep going back to the same place where you have people who go, right, I need to make 70% margin overall these days, which is nuts, isn't it, to think that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
To be able to cover all the costs and make some profit if I can.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can't apply that to everything. That's the problem. People do still do that. So, but I always used to be a rule of like, if the cost price of a wine coming in was up to say £8, then we'd put our 70% margin on it. Once we go over £8 cost price, we put £10 plus VAT on it. So it just makes it a £10 profit. So it ends up working out about the same as other things. But then, you have to look as well, more importantly, is the cash margin as well. Because another thing I think people are so nuts to just constantly, because you could have fish and chips, very cheap to make fish and chips. You can sell it at £15 and it's making you 70% margin. Great.
Yeah.
You can have a steak that you can buy in for a lot more, maybe pay in £7-8 for fillet steak coming in.
Yeah.
Sell it for 30. It's only making you 55% margin, but it's making you 15 quid cash. It's making you £5 more cash than the fish and chips, but less in terms of a margin. So tried as well to tell people, I think we should really maybe look at, we used to do a thing where we should teach, we'd have a board in the kitchen and we would tell the staff what the high margins were, because you'd have this upselling policy which went through the pub industry, again, every sort of 10 years, must upsell.
Yeah.
And it gets done too much, and the consumer gets annoyed with it and sort of ring it in a little bit, and then but it's what you're selling, and people would always sort of go for the higher margins. Well, look at the fish and chips, but you think, well, no, but the steak, other dishes make you more cash, and that is always really more important.
Yeah.
Cash is king, as they say. You need it in the bank.
Yeah.
And I completely forgotten what we're talking about. Drifted off topic completely.
Profit margins, yeah. What was
it was wine, wasn't it? Yeah. Back to wine making that. Yeah. So when you say that, I've been to a lot of businesses. I worked somewhere in Tetbury once, a lovely hotel there, beautiful, called Calcott. If I get a chance to go up to Tetbury, that is a stunning, stunning place.
Is it?
And we used to have one of the customers, very, very wealthy customer, odd guy, there's no doubt about it. But he used to live in a hotel Monday to Friday. He owned a business in that area, lived in London with his wife and family, but he'd come down Monday morning, go to work in the office, and then stay with us Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and go back Friday after work. And he liked Louis XIII brandy. If you've ever had that, it's extremely expensive.
No, I haven't.
I think then, and this is going back at least 15 years ago, we were selling about what you said, about either £1 or £150 a shot. But it was a very expensive hotel. Yeah, the cheapest room was £1,000 a night in this hotel. So it was, so there was a captive audience there. The wine list was ridiculous. He had an AA sort of restaurant one side, and then it had a Michelin restaurant the other side.
And how much was the bottle?
For us to buy?
Yeah.
I would probably, less than 100.
Yeah.
But the problem was there is that that business was initially run by a company. It went bankrupt. Somebody locally, a very wealthy friend of Prince Charles at the time, said, I spent all my youth growing up in the grounds of that hotel, so I'm not going to see it go under. So bought it out of administration.
Yeah.
Give it back to the company that were running it and said, look, you just carry on running it. If you make any profit, just reinvest it in the business. If you make a loss, I'll pick up the difference, but try not to make a loss if you can. Yeah. And he was a lovely guy. He used to come down and stay at the hotel in the hunting season. He'd meet Prince Charles at the hotel. So I used to do breakfast in the morning, hang around there serving tea and coffee to his friend, and Charles and Anne would just come in. It would be like a bizarre sort of, morning, how are we doing? Different world that was. But the problem that business had was because they didn't have any business acumen at all. And they didn't have to rely on delivering a profit. So the decision making for me, having been all my career in managed houses where you're driven by P&Ls and and targets and all this, and really high standards of professionalism in terms of how you manage the basics, really. To be in a business where it doesn't matter. So most things would be a finger in the air. You go, oh, I'm charging for this, and that was what happened with a lot of those products. The guy never moaned about the price because he didn't bother him. But the reality was nobody else would ever have bought a shot of that because they just put 70% on it straight away, which is saying, well, we can't do that with this because it's going to end up twice the price of a bottle for a shot.
Yeah.
And he would come in every day, and he'd start off with, he'd order a bottle of wine. I forget what the wine, I think it was a Pontensac 19 or something like that. And a double of...
He'd drink that every day, a bottle of wine.
He'd come in and
he'd
say, get it, because he would come in and have drinks with us.
Fair play.
He didn't like sitting in the restaurant because he found it too pretentious, because he was very much a down-to-earth guy despite his wealth.
Yeah.
And he would say, I'll have food. He wanted to have the restaurant food, but sit in the bar area to have it, because he wanted to go and sit in there.
Yeah.
So but he'd want a bottle of wine with it, but he wanted it breathing. So he'd say, go and open me that. So it'd be £150 bottle of wine then, it's probably now £200. Go in, open that for me, get it breathing. And while that's breathing, I'll have a double, maybe the 13. So it's a £300
bloody hell
shot.
Good God.
A £200 bottle of wine. And then he'd finish that and he'd go, your food's almost ready. I'll get another double before I go to the table. So he'd spend £1,000 before he gets sat down.
There's me, I'm in an hour and about 5 guys. Spending 22 quid.
It goes 22 quid, yeah, I know. It's so different. What I mean, yeah. Well, he used to bring a different car every week.
Oh my
And one
God.
week, I'm a big car guy. I love cars, and we used to talk a lot. He was lovely. He did some he was a weird guy, and he did some weird things, which I won't mention on air. But a lot of people didn't like him for the weird things. I think people thought he was he's a bit of a, I don't know, womanizer maybe, and he's a bit weird with the girls that worked there and stuff like that. But he never did any harm, and we kept an eye on him. I think he was all right, really.
Yeah.
But he did do a lot of nice things. And one particular thing, he came in one day, I was doing wine tasting with the girls, and it had never been done in the hotel before. We need to know what we're selling. I needed to try them. And we had a big group of Polish staff that were working there, and they just didn't know the wine. And if they did drink wine, they put Coke in it. So it was this one sort of like, I need to get away from that and try some really decent ones.
Yeah.
So he walked in at 5 o'clock, and his usual double Louis and a bottle of Pontensac.
Yeah.
And he said, what are you doing, Nick? And I said, I'm doing wine training. What have you got? And we had the wines that we served by the glass. So they were the very lowest of the end of our list, but still very good wines.
Yeah.
And he went, you're mucking about there. Give me the wine list. And then it's like that, the wine list. They give it to him. And he went through, he went, right, go and get me one of them. Get me one of them, get one of them. It's about $3,000 here now, right? He spent. Yeah. I said, I can't give that wine to him. I'll pay for the wine. He said, but if you're doing wine training, we're doing it properly. And he sat with us and we went through and talked about the wines. Brilliant. Yeah. Paid for the whole thing. I mean, the lesson they had. And this is quite bizarre because I was at the time running the bar side of the business. And I had a different older guy running the restaurant side. And we got on okay, but I think there was definitely a bit of like, I think up until I got there with the previous manager, there'd been quite a bit of animosity between each other. Sort of like, my restaurant's better than your restaurant. But I'd come in new, but he sort of still had that against me, even though I was brand new and didn't feel the same about his restaurant. I was like, no, we're just all one restaurant, aren't we? You know, he's like, well, no, we're better. And every meeting, we'd have to be some little thing he'd say.
Yeah.
You know, if we had a new dish coming on and the chef's going, we've created this new thing, and you go, well, that should obviously be in my restaurant. That's too good to be in the, you know, these little things like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that my staff, not his staff, are drinking $3,000 worth of wine, sat around drinking in the afternoon, and the boss has just gone, do whatever you want, you know. And we're just sitting there, you know, and he's come through saying, "Oh, we're doing a cheese board to go with that, or what?" You know,
Brilliant. What a legend!
But in the end, he actually, the other restaurant manager came to me and said, "Your girls obviously occasionally come through my restaurant, and people have been stopping asking about wine." He said they've just upsold 2 massive bottles of wine because they said they drank it this afternoon. I said, well, there we go. This obviously proves
that's great,
the importance of them having to try. They've got to try some of the better stuff. You can't just say, I've only drunk the cheap stuff. What does that message does it send to the customers if that's all they know?
Yeah, it's so important because you can get, if the staff are enthusiastic about their products, it comes on to you.
Because you won't spend that much money on something you don't really know. But someone says, look, it actually is really... Yeah. I've been some places, in all fairness, there's some places in restaurants in Swansea I've been to, in all fairness, and you look at the menu and think, I'm sort of torn between these 2 wines, but I don't actually really know that one very well. And they will say to you, look, honestly, actually don't. Just have this Mugar. It forgets both of them. And it's half the price. And you have it. And I'm a big Mugar fan anyway, but I just think that that's a nice touch as well, when you just, a bit of honesty from a place. And even if you don't know, I've always said to my staff, like, if you don't know something, you can be honest. Because we've got one girl, which was Alice, who's vegetarian, and she'll say, I can't recommend a lot of the meals. I say, no, it's fine, but there's parts of it that you've had, elements of the dish that you've had, or you've had experiences. You can say, look, I'm actually vegetarian, so I haven't had that. Make a bit of a joke of it, but then say, but the pork belly, I've never had anyone say anything but amazing things about that. So
the meat eaters.
If I was a meat eater, that's probably the one I would go for, you know. And then they have it and love it, and they've had some validation and some interaction.
Oh, cool,
But I've met a lot of people. I mean, the first time I ever went to the Plough and Harrow with my dad to try it out, to see if we if we liked the place. We walked in, guy behind the bar, won't mention his name, but he's a really lovely guy. But we said, we got 2 ales on. Now, this is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I know from my experience that they probably haven't poured a pint for 2 hours at that time of day. And if it's a quiet lunchtime, maybe not sold an ale at all. So like most ale drinkers, they will sort of say, you know, what's good? What was poured last? You know, what's going to be the freshest out of the barrel? Don't want the bit sat in the line from you overnight. And he went, I don't know. I'd like better. That was straight to the point. And I was had to walk away. You're like, no, we still want it. You know, it's which did you pour last? That one. We'll have 2 of that. Then that's great. Thanks very much. But actually, no. Even if you don't like better, you just say, well, actually, you know, this is what the
unbelievable.
Regulars, I don't know. I'm not a drinker myself, but the regulars love this one. You know, that's what you got to do. Even if you don't just make it up half the time. That's what I used to do. Is to say, okay, or what does the boss say we got to get rid of? If that's the one that hasn't been pulled today, I'd be thinking, I need to get that one moving. I'd be going, this is the one you want to try. You know.
Well, staff need to know that they are actually in sales.
Yeah, a lot don't.
They don't, do they? You know, you've got to say, look, we're selling stuff here. You're in sales. You know, and you need to promote things, even if, you know, like you say, you don't know anything about it. You're here to sell.
Totally. I think people, a lot of places, I think Curry's and like they took a long time to get around to that idea because their customer service, it's not amazing now, but it just was like, you go and say, I'm really sorry, I'm looking to buy this several £1,000s
Yeah.
television, and they go, I work on the Apple phones. Didn't ask where you worked. I'm a customer. Just say, all you got to say is, I'll get someone for you straight away.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Can you just stay here? I'll get someone as soon as I can for you.
Yeah.
Or just maybe try and what's because all he might want. The question might only be is like, how do I've decided what I want.
Yeah.
How do I go to the till? Do I need to write it down? Take a number with me? What do I do?
Yeah.
But you just assume straight away that you can't solve their problems. You go, I don't work in this department.
It's crazy how
I might wonder where the toilets are.
I used to work in what's it called? Quins. Have you heard of Quins? It's like
yes, they electrical, audio.
Yeah. Years ago, when I was in my 20s, probably, and I would sell so much more than all the salesmen there because the salesmen were only interested in their commission on certain brands.
Okay.
And they'd have certain customers, and I was just like, I'm just going to sell what I think's the best thing for the person. And that really came across without me putting much logic into it. I was a young kid, really. And then I was just selling.
So true, though.
I was just saying, well, I don't know about that one because this one might be better for you because, you know, I didn't give a shit about really the commission or I just wanted the person to have what they needed.
No, that is it's so true.
It came through, and everyone's like, all these salesmen who were like in their 50s, so like, how is he selling all that now? I can't believe it.
It's like you say, if you have an ethos, it comes through in your body language and the way you approach and answer questions. I think you just have to have that.
Yeah, 100%.
It is true. I was doing an interview recently with a guy about car sales and stuff. And he was a younger guy again, probably mid-20s. And he said, I told him about this story about...
Is that through your production company?
Through Pivot Media, yeah. We're just doing a program, just interviewing basically guys who work in the sales industry within cars, trying to put together some sort of emotive video to show consumers that the world's moved on with car salesmen and they're not the stereotypical wheeler dealer dodgy guys they used to be, the Arthur Dailies of the world, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd seen this, the Welsh marketing guru guy, I always forget his name, the big chap with the braces. He's on loads of Instagram stuff these days.
I'm not sure I do. Braces.
You can put his face in there now later, and then everyone know what I'm on about. But yeah, he's really worth following. He's one of the world's leading guys now on marketing, inspirations, and he does loads of talks around the world about it. And he's on a lot of podcasts. He just did a really good podcast.
What's his name? Do you remember his name?
No, I can find it for you before my phone's off. Isn't it?
Yeah,
I'll get it for you before I go. Yeah, really, yeah. And he was one of his many, many stories was about this guy who was a car salesman, and he was really successful, and then he sort of delved into like what made him tick and stuff. And he said, when I sell my first car to a customer, the only thing I care about at all in the world is that when they leave here, they'll never want to buy a car from anybody else again.
Right, yeah.
I don't care what I sell them, what the margin is, which one's got the best profit for me in it, or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's not even about the car. It's just I just treat them so well, look after them, that when they next come to buy a car, they will say, we have to go back and see that guy.
That's it, isn't it?
And then after that, they're in my hands forever. And that's all. And he did it. And it took a bit of time to get to that point. But eventually then he could sell anything to anybody because they come in. No one could sell anything in that garage. They'd walk in and go, where's that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll help you. No, we've been before. We need to see so-and-so.
That's good, isn't it?
They're just changing the whole attitude at the outset.
Yeah.
Just like you're quite right. And then, so telling the story to the guys in the production,
trying
to inspire some emotion and when they're talking. And one of the guys said, for me, he said, it's just really important I put the customer in the car that's right for them and not right for us. I thought you've just summed up
brilliant
perfectly. And if that's what you really believe, it will come across in everything that you say and do, because that's what you're trying to actually achieve. If it's a fake emotion, you're going to, deep down, you want the commission. You're going to always lean towards, is this...
That's right. It's the, what's the word? The authenticity of it, and have you met the Swansea Spotlight boys? Have you heard of Swansea Spotlight?
I've seen that. I follow their Instagram. Yeah, I've not met them.
They're so genuine, and they're so kind of transparent about what they're doing, and some parts of what they're trying to do, they haven't got a clue, and they'll just tell you. But they've come up with this great concept. You could, if anyone's watching, go and have a look at the Swansea Spotlight boys. But they're just so relatable as well, and they help other businesses by making their product, which helps other businesses with bills, all kinds of things, all aspects of what they need. And they're just so great that I think they're becoming really successful now in Swansea.
Oh, good. Yeah, I just see them growing. Yeah, and I've been following them. I think it's really good. I think you need more of that, really, because one thing I do find surprising sometimes is it's a real mix. I think it's like there's a lot of people out in Swansea who are really keen to do anything for anybody else, and there's also quite a handful of people who just seem not that they won't want to, but just like. It's not kind of a part of their culture, or it's sort of a bit reluctant to it. And it's a shame sometimes that you just need to have, and people say, you could join the Swansea Business Society or groups like that to get to meet people, to help each other out, thinking, why don't you just do it anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
If someone came to me and said, I want to try this out. If I can find any way of supporting you.
Same here.
Yeah, I would do it, yeah. And we've done loads of free production for people in Swansea. You can't afford to have stuff made. We've gone, we'll just pop down and we'll do an hour with you and stuff. Yeah, I mean, because we want more stuff in our show reel anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't want to be just all the same company, so we can branch out and do a bit of this or whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do think that.
Well, that's what's happened. That's what's happened with this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm helping, and I'm so chuffed that I am helping local businesses.
I think you can already see through the people that you've had on already that they are all the same people that seem to be cropping up in the same places that helping other people.
Yeah,
there's a little community building there, which is really nice. You see the crossovers and the pop-up foods.
Yeah,
in like Grandfather Uses Medicine, you saw that we get different people popping up there and helping Jenny down the road.
Yeah,
that's if we can build that, and obviously the Spotlight is helping again to do the same thing. Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah,
you have this group of people in Swansea. It's quite a young group of people really that are trying to do something. Because you go back only 10, 15 years ago when I first came to Swansea, it was definitely the food scene was nowhere near what it is now.
Oh, I know, it was horrendous.
It was awful, and I didn't want to come back for that reason because I'd gone further and further up the M4 towards Cardiff, then Cardiff.
I didn't want to come back because it was so bad. I wanted to leave because it was so bad. I had
to go away to realise.
Yeah, you do, and it hits you how good other places were back then.
Well, in sort of the Cotswolds, Somerset, you wouldn't survive a day as a pub if you didn't have really well kept ale.
Yeah.
There's no allowance for it whatsoever. It's a given.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be like, we might come back another time. You're just done. It's an insult to the customer that you would even consider. And why would you pour a pint that's obviously not right?
Yeah.
Put it on the bar and hope they don't notice? Because that happens still now in Swansea so much. You see it and you go in, you can't, what are you doing? Can't serve that. Or is it the head's like that? It's maybe fobbing or it's dirty line or something.
Yeah.
I was in somewhere, I can't say the name because it'll be terrible. I was in somewhere recently in Swansea, a hotel.
Yeah.
And they had problems pouring the Guinness. And I was having a meeting in there and I could see it and they were just pouring pint after pint after pint. Now, I have done this before and I've gone up to someone at the bar and said, look, I'm in the industry. If you want, I don't mind having a look at the cellar to see what's wrong, but that's not right. I don't know if your manager's here, but I don't need to keep wasting that beer and,
Yeah.
And it doesn't always get met with a very good reception. It's always kind of like, think you know it all, do you?
Yeah.
So I've changed my tack now.
Right.
I now just say I'm from Diageo. And then they change their mind. They go, I said, I work for Diageo. Do you want me to look at your cellar for you? They go, oh, would you? Thank you.
I thought you were going to say, I've changed my tack now. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I just walk away. Probably should really. I always feel like I've got to help that situation. So anyway, I was in this hotel.
Yeah.
Guinness is pouring terribly. And I said, I'll go to the cellar. And I walked in and she pointed at the cellar boy. If you don't know what a cellar boy is, it's like, obviously it's the tube, plastic tube in the cellar that the beer goes through. And it has to fill the boy, a little ball in it. And when the ball drops down, it stops the line feeding to stop air getting into it. Getting complicated now. But but that needs to be, and that's a good sign of the cleanliness of the lines because you can't really see in the lines that well, but the boy you can see. If the boy's dirty, the lines will be very dirty, basically.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this cellar boy in my life. And I mean nothing.
God.
And I've seen drains blocked with 10 years of fat.
No way.
This thing, I just couldn't even. But what was worse was when she walked in, the girl went, look, see, it all looks all right. And my first instinct was, let me check the gas.
To the untrained eye, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, to an alien who's never heard of the planet or anything, never heard of bacteria, is going to go, there's something living in that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be in there. It was hardened to a crust at the top half.
God, that is crazy.
Yeah, and it was just full of solid blue and green. I mean, jokes aside here, that could really make somebody ill.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse.
Bloody
if it was the
hell.
wrong person, if someone's got a low immune system, it could probably knock them out for good. So,
My God.
and I saw it's not been back there ever since. And I did say, she said, "What should I do? Should we call up the engineer?" I said, "Well, I would take it off immediately." She goes, "Oh, we can't really do that. I got people drinking it." I said, "You're going to kill someone. I'm telling you now. Take it off.
Yeah.
Say it's not available anymore. You can't even clean it. You need to actually replace the whole system. You need to have that taken off. You can't clean that. It's impossible. You can't get anything into it. Just hack at it for a week with a hammer and chisel, So I said, take it. Yeah. Honestly, it's unbelievable. But it's weird that like no one really polices that, because obviously EHO will go round and they look at cellars, they'll check ice machines and stuff, but they don't look at lines because it's not their remit.
Yeah.
The brewery, if they do happen to come around to maybe fix something and they notice it, they probably should do something about it. But it's not a governing body as such. There's no one saying you need to shut down or you're going to lose a star rating. I think that they should encompass it into environmental health. I think because they're doing cellar checks anyway, they already check for
Yeah, sounds like it.
They have to do cellars by the rules anyway. You have to check for like food storage in cellars and stuff like that, and ice machines because of E. coli and stuff. But that is. I don't know how we got onto that topic, but yeah, don't.
No,
I'll tell you where it is after this.
Yeah,
so you can avoid it like the plague. Because
please
don't tell you. Please don't.
So talking more about the production that you're. Perfect media.
It's a theme to my businesses. They're all called Perfect something normally. Yeah. I couldn't get it into Perfect Sheep. But, Perfect Media. So something I've done for forever, really. I started doing films when I was in school.
Yeah.
I was about 14 or 15. I think I made a few with stuff there. So, and then I've drifted in and out of it over the years, always trying to come back to it. But such a different thing. I did media in college, but that didn't really... I didn't feel I was learning anything, so I left early. And now looking back in hindsight, I definitely wasn't learning anything because it was a different time. But you did nothing about how the cameras really worked or any of that sort of stuff. It was it would have been difficult, I think, to have made much of it at that point. And it was we didn't have camera phones, we didn't have anything. So if you needed to film something, you needed to be in media or you needed to be in college to get access to anything half decent.
I found that because I was always interested. I never really went into it and studied it.
Now you can phone and you're a filmmaker, which I think is amazing. I think that's great that people can do that. And people should really realize the power more because there's so much crap. Social media is just full of crap. It's the same. People see a trend and it's just the same thing. Yeah. You have this power in your hand that you could go and make something really worthy of someone's attention. Yeah. As opposed to just something... some crap. There's so much crap. It gets getting more repetitive, isn't it, as it goes on? Either advert or the same thing. You got to seek out the better stuff. Yeah. But YouTube is the fastest growing medium at the moment. I know. It's going to take over TV the way it's going. Yeah. And I think that's a massive statement to make. But I think as TV sort of is becoming... It's finding a middle ground, isn't it? Because obviously we know already that Netflix writers are now being told to change the way they write their programs to make it dumbed down. I know. I've heard that. So you don't lose track of it while you're on horrible because everyone's doing two things at once. Yeah. Do you know when I heard that, a lot of people have left Netflix. They say they won't make for Netflix as a result of it because they don't think that should be the way. But is that true? I think at the same time, there's definitely people who, understand that they're right. But the thing is, the truth. People are on their phones while watching Netflix. So how would they govern that? I mean, would they talk to the producers and say, "Listen, you've got to." They want you to repeat things and stuff like that. So you go looking. That's going to cause problems. Putting subtle callbacks in, or with producers. One of my pet peeves with filmmaking is when people use expedition incorrectly, and sometimes it's so awful. And I understand if you use it correctly. It's such what do you mean? Sorry, expedition. Yeah. So basically, as in, I think it's the right word there. I got to get this right now because I always get this word wrong. Exposition. Right. Exposition. We have to cut that out now because I may look like an idiot. Exposition. Okay, I'll try. Yeah, so basically when you use the narrative to explain more than what they can see that's going on. So you might have a guy walk into a room and there's a woman there and they want to tell a lot about these people to the audience very quickly. So we'll do it through the dialogue. So he will say, "Hey darling, how are you doing? I'm glad you're back out of prison. I've missed you. Right. The kids are fine. I'm with you now, yeah. But they wish we were back together." So you now know that she's been in prison, they're divorced, they were married, and they have children.
Yeah.
But it needs to be done so well you don't notice it. Really, what happens? And in some films, you watch, you go, "Oh my god, it's so blatant. It's lazy. They haven't got the budget or the time to show you it. So they're telling you." And of course, the main rule with film should be show the audience, don't tell the audience. But a lot of people have to use that tactic to get over. See at the start of a film, but some films I watch, and the first 2 minutes are quite always keen. That's when it's overused the most in films, is those first couple of minutes to try and get you in quicker. So basically now what they're telling writers with Netflix is they want you to use that tool repeatedly. So every couple of scenes, you come back.
Keep you updated.
Yeah, one of the characters basically does a catch-up for you. He goes, so you're telling me the dog's still dead, Brandy's gone down the cove, this happened, and we're not having Chinese for dinner. And they kind of go, oh, okay. Because they were only going to go, oh, right, okay. And the next stage is going to be volume change, I think. I've not seen this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. We already use volume change to get people to look at adverts.
Yeah.
The volume's slightly higher for adverts, so it brings your attention back to the screen. We've seen a lot of adverts recently starting to use silence in their adverts to get you to think the TV's gone off, so you get up from your screen. It's all because of this that they're doing it. So I'm not sure if I won't be surprised if after a while they start putting silencey bits in films. Complete silence.
I feel a bit less annoyed now you've explained that to me, because I thought the main thing was to make scripts less complex.
I think there was that. I think that's what a lot of people thought they meant by it initially. Yeah, but I don't think that's what I think. Oh, right. I think they want you to make
destroying an art.
Yes,
you know.
Well, completely rechanging the whole thing. Yeah, and relearning. Yeah, because it's progressive, isn't it? We've got better and better at writing.
Exactly.
And suddenly you're going to say, actually, yeah. But I think it was initially came out as maybe misunderstood as a dumbing down of your writing, simplifying the structure, or somehow making it easy to follow. But that's not what I've read since then. It seems to be that we have these lapses where we get caught up in it and then we come back to what we're watching.
Yeah.
And we need to somehow be able to still follow
Cope with devolution of the human human brain.
So maybe we do slow it down a little bit. I don't know. But at the same time,
so strange, isn't it?
Or maybe we just get to a point where we just say, please turn your phones off when you're watching something and enjoy it. Do one thing.
Yeah.
But I'm very guilty of it. But I will pause.
Yeah, me too. I don't like to miss. I'm obsessed with film and TV. Okay. Obsessed. And I will, you having messages.
Or rewind, constantly rewinding. So you need to sort of pause it and go stop it because you don't want to miss.
Yeah, and people these days, when you got your own business or something, you having messages, you have to, so there is that aspect of it, but pause it, rewind it.
Yeah.
Don't change.
Because you can miss things even when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Constantly in a dark room on your own, and you still a good film. You'll go back and watch it again and go, "Oh, I didn't see half the stuff I saw the first time."
That's true. Yeah.
If that's happening already, and we've been doing that for the last 15, 20 years, layering films purposely so they can be watched more than once and still be enjoyable. That's another art as well, which you see particularly in sort of American comedies, like Dodgeball and stuff. They layer them so much that there's just different age groups get different jokes. You watch it again in 10 years, you see a different story and all that sort of stuff. And we sort of progressed to that level, and now we're all going, whoa, 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 whoa. Take it all back, dumb it down, and make it really simple to follow.
Yeah.
Just because of a percentage of, and I said that would be a real shame because they could backfire because you could have the core audience like us, real film people, will go, well, I've given up on that then.
Yeah.
Because it's just too boring or simple or repetitive because it's constantly reminding me the exposition, what's actually going on. I know what's going on, and I hate catch-ups anyway, the best of times when you have that.
Yeah.
Last time on this episode.
Oh,
I can remember a week ago.
Thank you very much. I know. And I can work out a plot for something that's not very well written instantly. And I don't like that. I hate it. I love to, that's when I'm in my element, when I'm watching something that I cannot predict at all. It's like script-wise, anything, the plot, it's just so important to me for something to be new, unpredictable.
You've got to care. To want to know what happens. Yeah. Otherwise, you've just lost.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff there's a fair bit of stuff made these days that it's just like.
There's a lot of filler I find with things.
Yeah,
it's like. Particularly with amateur filmmakers, they just seem to want to just put in loads of bits they think need to be in there.
There's a lot of filler in series.
There's just like external shot. They'll cut to external for no reason, then go back in, and then in a bit of action.
Yeah.
And there's some really like lovely, maybe beautiful shots, but like They do nothing for the story,
no,
the character development or anything. And normally if you do writing courses, they say if a scene doesn't do one of those three things, it can't be in there.
Yeah.
And you think, well, why is that? It's just a random shot there of a field from outside and then back into the action. But it's not there to create suspense or anything. It's just because it needs to fill up.
Yeah.
If it's ever a reason, I don't mind it. If it's because, something's about to happen.
Yeah.
I watched Drive the other night. I'd never seen it before.
Drive?
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever come across it. I'd never even heard of it.
Who's in it?
I can never remember his name. It's the guy who's in the new film, Hail Mary. It's the lead guy from that. I always forget his name. That's my phone's dead. You have to Google it.
Drive? No, I don't.
Great, really, really great film.
Is it good? Is it? I've heard of it, but I didn't even
recognise the picture cover or anything. The only reason it happened was my cat sat on my remote control and turned it from Sky over to the Samsung TV, and it came up with this thing, and it defaulted to movie something channel, one of their channels, and it was on. And it just came in the stair, and it just held me straight away. I was like, this is so nicely shot. I like him as an actor. He went into this room with a hammer in his hand and shut the door. I was like, what happened? What happens? So stopped it, went back on Sky, found it, and watched it. And then I texted a friend of mine, Josh, who's really, really big into films.
Yeah. And
he was amazed. I'd never heard of it. He said, you never heard of Drive? It's amazing. It's like, 90 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's one of the best films of the decade.
I can't believe I haven't heard of it.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it's a good example. There's a bit at the end where there's a fight scene. I won't ruin it for you, but basically the camera pans down, and it just shows the shadow of what's going on. But because the two men are quite enthralled, you can't see who's winning, what's going on. It's an amazing moment of suspense. We just see these, and he just holds it there for ages. Whereas normally, it would be classed as terrible filling, but this was like one of the most suspenseful scenes in the film. There's just two shadows you think are still fighting. You can't tell if one of them is like one or whatever. It's tell me the name of the actor because I always forget his name, but he's brilliant. He did Barbie. He played Ken in Barbie.
Oh yeah, him. What's his name? Ryan Gosling.
He's amazing.
Drive.
Yeah, so Drive with Ryan Gosling.
I have seen it. Oh, yeah. I just can't remember it.
That's okay. We've done better than me then because I couldn't remember it and I hadn't seen it. I normally 9 out of 10 times put a film on I can't remember and I get a minute or two and I go, oh, I have seen it because I've seen too many. That's really frustrating. I get my food ready and I get really sort of like tonight without the children. I'm going to watch this and it's going to be brilliant. And then I go, oh no, and I got no backup plan. So I'm going to the thing that really gets me going. I've been trying to watch It's a Beautiful Life for ages.
I
keep putting it off because I always feel I have to be in a certain mood with certain films. That's one of those things I think.
I'm very.
I will watch it. Because there's also a new rule I have where I'm fed up with watching films just because somebody else or it's been hailed as a brilliant film. I'm not into martial art films very much at all, if I'm honest. Just don't do anything for me. There's 2 or 3 obviously that sit in the top 10 of all time as films, and I just can't.
I was into them when I was very young, but
watching a film just because
12 to
it's
15.
in someone's top. It's in the Times top 100. I've given up on all that now. Don't worry about that. If you go through it and go, they say it's number 9, but I think I couldn't start. I wouldn't. That doesn't interest me at all. Don't feel free to keep going. But there's so many guys I know we're all obsessed with having to see to say we've seen the top 100 as film. If you're a real film guy, you haven't seen the top 100. Get rid of that. Just see what you want. So
no, I agree with that.
That's so. But the opposite of that is I think I want to see It's a Beautiful Life. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Lee, this week, another big guy in film. We keep swapping films we have to watch. And I said to him, I'd just seen One Battle After Another. New film.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm just trying to remember what happened in it.
It's the activist and with his daughter.
Oh yeah, really good.
Really, really
good, isn't it?
Anyone at home hasn't seen that, stop what you're doing now. Well, watch this first and then watch that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. So I was saying that to my friend, it's absolutely outstanding. He's I said, well, I'll do a deal. He said, I'll watch that if you watch It's a Beautiful Life, because I've been putting that off for ages, but I didn't. But I was about to watch that when Drive popped up on the third. I ended up watching Drive instead. But we'll come back to it.
Yeah, I love the music of the Drive. I'm big with music and film. That's for me. That's the sweet spot.
It's that great opening scene when it's very similar to Baby Driver in that respect, where in the opening scene is a getaway driver chase scene.
Yeah, I can't quite remember it properly though.
So it starts with him outside a business, and he's been the getaway driver for guys robbing this business. He's waiting for them, and it's a great suspense scene as well, because the first guy comes out, gets in the back of the car with the money, and he just takes his part of the car off.
Yeah, I'm
and they're waiting for
it now.
Waiting for the second guy, and he's got the music on, his builds and builds and builds, and he's got the radio on, which is telling him what the police report is saying, and the police go, we're 2 minutes away, so he knows how he's got now 2 minutes to get out of the scene.
Yeah,
the guy finally comes, and he cranks up his music.
Yeah.
Which obviously in Baby Driver, he's got the headphones all the time, isn't he, with the music? And it's that clever thing, when he takes it out, it stops. Puts him back and it goes, but because it's just a difference that music makes to films, and all sound really.
I love it. When I do a little bit of songwriting, and it's just always there's a film in mind when I create something, and I think the combination of an amazing bit of music and scene, something in a movie, I think that's just the best art for me.
Sound production is nuts. Something I've never really thought about, but like when you look into it, when you go, if you see like an actual, like a professional film, you see the layer, the work they put into sound. It's nuts. It's just little whirls, ticks, bird sings.
Yeah.
They be 30 or 40 different sounds in every single part of the scene.
Yeah.
Just to create what you take it all out one by one, and you're just blown away, and it's completely different without it.
Yeah.
The mood you can create. It can be the same scene you're watching, but how the brain interprets it is mainly, I think, driven by the sound it hears. If it's nothing, it can scare you.
Yeah.
Because that lack of sound, it's nuts, isn't it? You can probably put the most horrific, violent scene on if you put something funny over the top of it. I mean, we've seen like Tarantino's example of like with that cutting the ear off, and then putting that really funky song on, off of it.
Yeah,
you know they didn't want to do that song with him. He went to buy it to get the song, and
really?
one of his famous stories, and they wanted $50,000 for the rights to use the song over the scene, because they weren't happy with that song being used over that particular scene. So they thought they'd outprice him with that figure. So he sold the script of True Romance to raise the money, and he sold it $50,000 just to buy one song. And I think that goes to show how important music is to us, because that seems to become the most iconic scene probably of cinema of the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I get, like a Tarantino film, I'll buy the album every time.
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs.
He never uses music made by someone. Well, he has done a couple of times now, hasn't he? But normally it's always pre-made music, which is very opposite to a lot of other filmmakers. They'll bring in someone like Hans Filman, who will write a score for the whole film.
Yeah,
nothing you hear is old. But I think I prefer when they use existing music.
Yeah, because like Django. Have you heard the song? That's on in my car.
Because it tells you about the character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The song that he puts on at the start of Drive tells you instantly a lot about the character of that person.
Yeah.
He's quite cool.
Yeah.
Quite young. Likes fast cars. Probably a bit of a drink. You get those weird stereotypes coming straight out. But it does help you, again, maybe build a character without having to say too much. Just by the choice of what you put on.
100%, yeah.
That's where we were then. We drifted off a bit then, didn't we?
Is there anything in particular that you'd like to go over that we haven't?
No, not really. I could talk forever, so it's probably best to tell me to shut up. But it's interesting you said about music, though, with the vision, because I make a lot of music videos for bands. And you said then you picture a movie when you're writing music. I kind of do the opposite. When I hear a song, it's either two things happen. One, I go, I don't like that song. It's not my cup of tea. It's not for me. Or I instantly get a vision of what the music video should look like, and I've had that all my life. That's why I started doing the videos, not because I wanted to do videos and then learnt a way of doing them. I just always used to find it quite easy, and I tell people, this is what I would do with that, and they went, "Oh, could we do that? That sounds really good." I go, "Yeah, if you want, yeah." It's a weird thing, but when you mentioned then seeing songs better when you've got a movie in mind, interesting, gives you a feel and a mood for it straight away.
I've always done that. I've always got a film in my head, and I always have a theme tune to it. It's like the theme tune, and then I record it. Yeah, no, it's weird. It's like, because I've recorded a couple of albums before, but I never really pursued it because of life getting in the way of whatever. A lot of people can't pursue things that don't pay you any money at the beginning, and it's just I've never gone through with it. But film and music, that's my thing.
Well, I hope we do pursue it at some point. I think it's It is difficult. It's just time is the problem.
There's so many. I've always wanted to do something in film, acting. I've always wanted to do and the music, because I'm just obsessed with film, obsessed with it. And I think I will try and go back into that, because I had a period in my life where I was going into music and we were being quite successful as a band I was in. But my father got very ill. He got terminally ill, and we were going to move to London, but I packed it all in to look after my father. So it was, it was a funny time.
Oh, so you probably do a second chance then, it sounds like.
Well, hopefully we'll see.
Do it, yeah. I mean, it's getting better in Swansea. It's still not where it needs to be. I'm still surprised. Still cut a few of the bands that I work with, they can sell out over, in London at short notice anywhere in London, 200-300 seater. They put something on in Swansea. They probably do it eventually, but it'll take months of really pushing it.
Yeah, we
get people out to watch live music.
We were always in London.
It's a shame. Bristol's okay for it.
Yeah, Bristol. We played Liverpool. Manchester was amazing.
Yeah, London. Manchester. Yeah, I've done a few gigs in Manchester.
Yeah,
very good. Manchester University.
Yeah,
it's a prominent site to go to.
Great places, but Swansea.
You've got to support it to what. That's the thing, isn't it? And I think it's just. I think there's definitely opportunity there. I think that the arena could probably do more for local. Maybe they could put on once a quarter. They could do a night, because the first ever night they did there, if you remember, was they did a trial run to test the facilities of it, and they had 6 or 8, maybe more, local bands came and played. Yeah, so it was £5 a ticket.
Oh, cool.
That got you in, but your ticket got you your first pint, so effectively it was free to get in. But you had to buy one of these £5 tickets.
Yeah.
And my dad and a few friends. Yeah, and there's a few bands I was in school with that actually played there. And it was pretty, I said about 10 bands. They ordered about half an hour each. I just just for them to test the security and test it all working. And then obviously Royal Blood was the official first act there.
Yeah.
But I thought that night was brilliant. And it was, people came and went because it was an all-day thing. Actually, I was thinking of 2 days it was actually. So it'd be on from like midday till 10 o'clock over 2 days.
I didn't know that.
If it crunched it in a bit tighter, I think it would have been a bit better, because it never felt super busy, because people were coming in, watch a couple of hours, and that's enough. It was local bands, and off you go, and maybe the end was a bit busier. But once a quarter, if they did, they give it to the local bands for a couple of hours, so the bands get it for free. The bands don't get paid.
Yeah,
that is normal, but they get the drink sales at the venue, so it's worth them opening the doors and encouraging it. Because I think if you haven't got that happening there, then where's the culture coming from? I don't understand.
Exactly.
I don't understand why it has to grow, and why all the smaller venues have got to do all the legwork.
I know, and
build it up so they can then cream the profits of it when it's successful.
Yeah. One thing I noticed as well: there's no proper places for bands. There's a few to rehearse, like when I was in a band years ago, there was just problems with going into places where you could where there'd be like a decent drum kit and just to go and rehearse.
Yeah, there's not really. I can think. I'm out of the loop with that now, but I mean, I can't really.
Yeah,
we used to go to Seven Sisters, to a church hall, a band hall.
Yeah,
that's because our bassist lived in Seven Sisters, and that was quite an excursion to go to.
Yeah,
and Seven Sisters is, can I say, an unusual place? I had a very unusual experience as well. I was every time I went there, and we used to joke a lot and say it was a bit out of the way, and it's out because there's a massive, huge wheel in the middle of Seven Sisters. It's massive. I'm not sure what it represents. Maybe part of the mining. I don't know. I just didn't really say. But I'd always joke and say that every morning they come and pray to it. And go, what is this? What is this?
Where did it come from?
Yeah, what did it do? But I mean, some funny times there. We went one occasion. We were in the pub. And after we'd rehearsed, we'd stay at the bassist's house sometimes if it was a long rehearsal, so we'd go all the way back. Bearing in mind, parents have to bring us and drop us back to Seven Sisters from Swansea. It was a bit of a trek. And but then it got to a point where I was driving and we were still going to stay over, but I'd left something in the band hall. So I sat at the bar in the Seven Sisters Rugby Club and said to my friend Gavin, because he lives in the area, I said, I've had 2 pints, shouldn't read 2's about the limit. Can I pop up and get that? And at the end of the bar, the guy just shouted at me, "You'll be fine. I'm not going anywhere for 10 minutes." I looked up, and it was the local copper having a pint in his uniform. I'm like, authorising me to go 2 pints. You'll be all right. I'm not going out for 10 minutes. It's on your back in 10 minutes. I won't go on the road.
That is so funny.
But a lovely place, and they were so accommodating. But that was But that was a band hall, that was, and it was locally supported by charities, or I think the local council. Didn't have a drum kit, but it had a lot of everything else. It had a piano, trumpets, trombone, quite a lot of stuff in there. And a PA system, which is probably so it's this one less thing to carry. But I did have to get the kit there. Yeah. Then after that, we moved down. There used to be a place on the Strand.
I know.
Called. Do you remember the name of it? So Paul Durden used to look after it. Who was the guy who wrote Twin Town? He used to be,
I know the building you mean.
Yeah.
I
had a name. Something. It was a recording. It was a derelict.
Yeah,
horrible.
I just used to call it the Strand.
Building. We decorated it when we were there. We got if you remember, it went from being horrible to being like all yellow, and because we could get cheap. We got stuff given to us, donated basically. We got yellow, green, and a very fluorescent pink. Those are the colours that we got given for free by like local companies. So
the council shut it down after a while, though, didn't it?
Yeah, because nothing really happened there. But upstairs was meant to be the whole building was part of a charity, but it didn't do anything.
No.
The only part of the business that actually was doing anything was that rehearsal room was quite used a lot. It's Talk Circle, a good old band in the days from Swansea. They used to use it. There's 2 or 3 of the better bands at the time all used that same space. But it was awful.
Yeah, it was a derelict.
Yeah, a derelict room. Yeah, it was. I mean, you could have filmed Apocalypse. You could say it, Apocalypse films in there. And we need a studio. It was bricks missing, roof leaking.
I know. Yeah, we used to
put electrical stuff and drum kits in there.
I know. We used to get people in off like walking past like on Wine Street. Come on, there's a gig going on. And like we just play to random people, no heating in there.
No, it was freezing.
In the winter,
it was. Freezing. Yeah, and that was before. Like the Strand's got a few things on it now, isn't it? There's the new pub.
Yeah.
Pub, the comedy club there, and there's a few other bars the other side.
Yeah.
And now it's it feels safer to walk down that part. But then like 20 odd years ago, I mean, it was horrible. Anyway, the whole link wasn't there. There was the burger places on the corner weren't there.
Yeah.
Wine Street wasn't like it was now.
Yeah, it's all tidied up and
when Wine Street was nothing. I mean, people remember we used to go and play in the Coach House.
Yeah,
which is now called the Coach House again. I think someone told me.
Is it?
Yeah, it's gone back to being called the Coach House, the Coach and Horses, something like that.
I haven't been up there for.
But that used to have an underground dungeon, I suppose, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And it had one extension lead just sort of hung down the staircase from the upstairs bar with 4 plugs. That was the only power down there. So you had to get the band and somehow light the room off that. It was just a dingy, no light thing. You'd then go into the bar upstairs because it was just full of bikers and they just didn't want any kids in there, right? So if you went in there, they would just literally, they'd really fight you. It'd be horrible. So we never ever went in there other than once, which I'll tell you why in a second.
Yeah.
We'd play gigs downstairs and we used to get to hire it for free. We could charge money in the door, but you never did because you just get people in there. And it used to be quite good, and that was, they'd just done Castle Gardens then. So it was quite new with the new glass leaf, which is now, just how old we are, because that's been done again at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's been done and cut and they were talking about putting a glass roof on Wine Street at the time. That was going to be their plan. Never happened. Yeah, they're going to make it so it's all covered. So you could have outside dining and turn it into this big continental
an actual zoo.
An actual zoo. I think they sort of timed it with the licensing reform, because remember, like Tony Blair said, we're going to make it more continental and we're going to make hours of drinking longer with the new licenses, so we can serve from like 9 in the morning till 4 in the morning. Fabulous. And they thought we'd drink slower and more respectfully if we had longer continental hours.
Little did they know.
No. Most of us didn't even get, when we did the licensing applications, so many were rejected anyway, because they basically, as part of the rule changes, they give a lot more power to residents. And they would, all you do was go and speak to your the council person that represented your street or whatever, and they would then be all day long in the council chambers, because obviously you had every pub in the UK reapplying for its license. Essentially, you couldn't continue; you had to reapply for the extensions. So the courts were just backlogged with hundreds. So they do 20, 30 cases a day, pub, and you'll all be asking for a little bit more. Can we go an hour extra? Can we do an hour of this? And every time you'd have it, you'd have police objections. Please go, no, we're okay with that. And then you'd have council objection. They go, yeah, Nelly next door, don't want that. And probably rightfully so a lot of the time, doesn't really want it. We had one place where we owned 2 pubs in the same street, and we said, oh, can we have a 12 o'clock drinking license in this pub? And they were, yeah, granted that. It was fine. And then 16, 17 houses down was another pub, and we went there for, I think they went slightly later there, 12:30. It's a bit closer to town for some various reason. And the council guy said, well, no, we don't want that because there's a woman that lives between the two pubs. What she's worried about is everyone's going to get kicked out of there at 12 and they're all going to pile down the road to this pub and make a massive noise outside.
Right.
Which did become an issue, didn't it? Because obviously we didn't see please leave quietly signs outside pubs until that licensing reform came along, really, with later hours.
Yeah.
But then this is how daft it got, because they said to that pub down the road, well, you can have the later license, but no one can come into your pub after 11:30. So they have to have already been in there before you shut to stay. Which means the people from the other pub can't come wandering down because they can't have been in there. But it also just changed the door licenses. You couldn't just be a doorman anymore. You now have to have an SAA license. And without that license, even the landlord wasn't legally allowed to stand on the door. If you stood on the door and stopped people coming in or out, or you were seen to do that action, then you were breaking the law because you're acting as a doorman without a doorman's license, basically. So even in your own pub, you couldn't go, sorry, we're sent daft. You can kick people out of their own pub. Well, you can kick them out, yeah, but you can't police a door as such. You need to get a license for that. And it was a bit of a grey area. So as a result of that, this pub now has been told you can have people drinking later, but they have to have already been in by 11:30. They're saying, well, how do we police people being in by 11:30? And how do we stop people coming in after 11:30? Well, you need to have door staff. So the cost of this project now becomes ridiculously pointless, because at the end of the night, you're getting one more drink out of people if you're lucky. Most people are just nursing the drink they've already bought. So is it, and it was like that all the way across. We had, at the time I was in Terranova in Cardiff Bay, and we used to open until 2:00 in the morning. But the brewery asked for a 4 a.m. license, and they said to us, look, we're never going to use it, but we have to reapply for license anyway. So you've got to pay that cost anyway. You may as well try and get something extra. So we went for earlier 9 o'clock start. So on rugby days we could start earlier, and then we'd go for 4 o'clock in case we ever need it. Which we got it, but we had a rule then. If we're going to serve past 2 o'clock into the 4 o'clock hours, we had to have already been on plastic from 12 o'clock.
Right.
So on a Friday or Saturday night at 5 to 12, I had to make a decision. Am I going to close at 2 or am I going to close at 4? If I'm closing at 2, I carry on with glass. If I'm going to close at 4, we've got to change the plastic now. And you ever tried changing 1,000 people to plastic? It doesn't work. So you have licensing officers coming in at about 25 past 12, 12:30, going, what time are you shutting tonight? 4 o'clock. You're not on plastic. We've stopped giving glass out on the bar. We've tried to transfer people over, but there's still a lot of people in here who've got a glass that they bought before 12 o'clock, who, when you ask, will you put it into plastic, going, no, I'm going to finish this and go, so leave me alone.
God, yeah, so it's a logistical.
Yeah, because you couldn't, the only way you could get them to change it was saying, are you staying past 2? And they go, yes. Well, in that case, you need to change to plastic. They'd give in then because they want to not get kicked out at 2 o'clock. But the ones who literally have gone, no, we're not staying till 3 in the morning. We're going to go home. So yeah, I paid quite a lot of those days because it was expensive. To have a nice glass of Peroni at £7 a pint in my chilled glass.
Yeah.
You're not
That's it.
No. So the whole reform didn't really work anyway, but that was the point, was to go continental and to change the hours and the way that we approach alcohol. But it's just like all the things we tried continental, like the schooner glass, the 35ml shots. No, we have a strong culture of which you don't see anywhere else in the world. The pub thing has never really been replicated anywhere in the world in the same way at all. Not in the way that we use it. No, it's a hub of the community.
That's true. Yeah,
it's a place you go for everything. You can get engaged. You can get married in pubs. You can have your anniversaries, your birthdays, your funerals. You see life. You see the start of like christenings. Yeah, you see it's the go-to for all these events in our lives. Yeah, so it becomes very important, I think, to people. But you try and change a culture that strong, into a continental style of approaching it. It's like that's not how we see. We don't have siestas, and we don't treat it like that. Yeah, we're not a culture. I mean, you do see a bit of it, but like I think a lot of drinkers, they don't go out to have a pint, then go and do something else, then be somewhere else and go, oh, I'll have a pint, and then go and do something else throughout their life or their day or whatever. That's not our culture. Ours is to go out, do our day's work, and then go and have a few pints, and that's the end of the day then. I've got one friend who does that, and I just don't get my head around it. He can go out 10, 11 o'clock, meet somebody, for a chat, and go, have a pint, have a pint, have one pint and leave it, and then go all day, and then it's not planned. If he by happens to be in another place that sells alcohol later that day, but it won't be planned. It'll be someone goes, oh, no, I'm not, come and meet me here, and whatever. He goes, a pint, oh, I may as well. It's really it's the epitome of that continental casual, drinking it like it's a cup of tea or a can of Coke, just very genuinely and casually. Whereas everybody else I know is like, no, I work really hard, and once I put that first beer in my hand,
that's it. Then.
Yeah, nothing else is happening. It's Uber, and home and a curry maybe or something. I'm the worst for it. I'm not having a one. Someone said, "We go for a quick pint. We out for the night?" No, just one. I don't get that. Don't understand it.
No, it's weird, isn't it?
Going home having just had one, it's gonna be like, what the hell do I do now? Because it's the whole mojo's gone.
I'll have occasionally have a couple of beers in the house on my own. Occasionally, a couple of bottles of beer. But if I'm out, I'll stay out for the night, and not that I go out much, but
Do you
know what I was just thinking about is when I think it was either I was in either Sweden or Budapest. I can't remember which one it was, but they have the shushers. Have you seen those?
No, I don't think so. I will.
So when you come out the pub,
all right,
you're like
literally shushers,
and then they're just like shh.
Oh, literally shushers. And I have heard of that, but not seen it.
It's so weird because you look at them and you're like, oh, sorry, and there's loads of them, and they're like dressed up really smart, like all these vintagey clothes. And
so what would their like average hour closing be? Would it be later than ours?
I can't remember, but I just couldn't believe someone was telling me to shush.
I mean, we kind of do that to a degree. I mean, in the city centre pubs when I worked in Cardiff, like the door staff, if you had them,
they try to keep things down.
Yeah, it would be part of it would be on your license that they need to encourage the. You had to sort of basically you had to give a bit. You had to say, how will you deal with this problem? And then you'd say, well, we'd have signs on the door saying, please leave quietly, respect neighbours. And we would tell the door staff that they have to actively do that. But once they get, 2 meters off your property, it's not, the door staff can't do anything about that then,
No,
so,
exactly.
These it's difficult to police.
These shushers, I think they're called shushers. They might not be. I hope they are. They follow you around, and they're like twirling canes, and they're theatrical.
Okay,
I can't remember where I was. It was on a stag do. It was either
sounds like a Willy Wonka film or something.
I can't remember. It might have been Budapest or it's either Sweden or Budapest. But they follow you around and they you.
It's like mime artists, that kind of thing. Is it a little bit?
Yeah,
you said the Canes, like Charlie Chaplin. I can imagine that kind of.
It was crazy, and they were just kind of ushering us lager Welsh boys down the road quietly.
I suppose that sort of comedy approach to it takes the edge off it, because that is one problem I think with a lot of the people in our industry. They deal with those things. It's always confrontationally.
Yeah,
you see, even when people say, "Oh, can I see the manager? There's something not quite right with the meal."
Yeah,
it's quite often if you're watching, the manager comes to the table ready for a fight, and it's like you don't. You come to go, "Hi, how you doing?" You can still be yourself, and then maybe deal with it if it needs to. But come in confrontational. Yeah, you only end getting the same thing.
No, they would play. They were like I
think it's a better approach.
It was great. It worked. It was so funny. You have a laugh with them, but
could be a nice little job that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it, but I say it for somebody.
Yeah.
Bit of pocket money.
Yeah. Nick, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Good luck with the new business with, it's not that new, but...
Newish, yeah. Well, yeah, not new to us, but new to the world.
Yeah, good luck with that, and speak to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.